Okay.
All right. Ah, let's all take a breath together as we commune in this space, in this loving space of connection and vision and honoring all those who walk on the earth, all those who fly above the earth, all those who swim within the earth, and all those ancestors, past, present, and future. We invite them into the center of the circle with us tonight as we open to Radical Earth Heart Resonance on August 4th, 2020. And you can feel into it. There is a beat, sensing this beat, this rhythm of the earth, this heartbeat of connection, peace, love, and light. I'm going to pass it over to Amani, who's going to open our call, and Linda, who's going to bring us into some resonance. There's going to be a lot of deep sounding song, celebration, and honoring of all the energies that are needing to be embraced and integrated and transmuted. Return to wholeness. So with that, Amani. Directly from the land, want to know.
From the soul of the earth comes the sound of my drum. From the soul of the earth comes the rhythm and the hum. From the soul of the earth comes the sounds of our voice. From the soul of the earth comes freedom and choice. Mama, we honor you. We gather to say thank you for our lives. Mama, we honor you. We gather together to pray for all life. From the soul of the earth comes the sound of the drum. From the soul of the earth comes the rhythm and the hum. From the soul of the earth comes the dowsing that we do. From the soul of the earth comes me and you. Family gathering, honoring integrity. Family gathering, honoring the promises we made when we came to the earth. We brought our light when we came to the earth. We were given a choice when we came to the earth. We are one in heart when we came to the earth. We give the world a new start. From the soul of the earth comes the sound of the drum. From the soul of the earth comes the rhythm and the hum. From the soul of the earth comes the food that we eat. From the soul of the earth comes the water that we drink. Mama, sweet Mother Earth, thank you for our lives.
So following that, I actually want to bring something in. So hang in there, Linda. That today, the Trisena in the Mayan calendar is Kawak, the gentle storm. And sometimes that storm is not so gentle. And we're holding, as Charlie was describing, that hurricane winds and water. And it's the day of Akbal, the owl, the sacred owl. And this is important because in creating the sacred container here tonight, connecting with Amani's land specifically. As we heal ourselves and work with the land, we're healing each other. That this is the time of inviting us to look at the shadow side, the darkness. And I loved what Jose was saying. Look at it, the flashlight all the way in with you, all the way in. And tonight, I'm going to invite, everyone to breathe and to trust the field, our 13th agreement. And as we stand here tonight in that frequency of the owl, in this coexistence, we stand tall in our sacred authority, and we stand in humility. And this land that we've been gathering around for the past month, and now I think it's 1 month and a week, has been a tremendous vortex for healing in bringing that land alive, its connection to all these different places. This particular grid of coherence with Washington, D.C. and would make sense, interesting, these manifestation stations that are going up around, plus all of you here tonight, standing tall. So after Linda opens, I'm just really hearing to just speak your voice and energy to that fire on that land, because it's brought us together. And the land that you're standing on is intricately and intimately connected. Because what we're standing for is the unification and transmutation of any energy that is not clean and pure. And it's so amazing. Not that it's wrong, but that we're all honoring that place in ourselves that is looking to be able to glean the highest frequency, the fullest expression of who we be. And this beauty of radical earth resonance, for those of you who are here that might be new or might be listening to this recording, is that that radicalness is that we're breathing the fecundity. So get this one. We're breathing the fecundity of this transmutation, where all beings can be honored in their highest light. And in order for that to happen, we are coming into a time where anything other than love. So what is dowsing? It is creating the space, the quickening for anything other than love to rise, to be met. And in meeting that energy and clearing those frequencies, and I know Tyhson and Shelley will have a lot to say about this, what tends to happen is we can access that our highest frequency, this sense of wholeness. And we come into that deep state of, by being supported, sorry, I said of, but by being supported by others, to create a safe container where love can happen, where people can come home. And if you're on this call, that's what it's about. It's about coming home. And what we've been doing, for those who are new, is we've been working with Amani's land. And you can see that fire with that peace chamber. And we've been working with Amani's land to let its voice rise, to let its song be sung, thereby creating a rippling throughout this web of love, because Imani and Jerry, and they've been holding this space of the web of love. So we're really tuning in and attuning into that. And on this day of the sacred owl, and I know Linda will have a lot to share as she's opening this call tonight. She is my owl sister. And why? Because we met in, I don't even know what the date was, at the Co-Creators Convergence. And I was taking people up, I think this, I was taking people up for Sunrise Walk. And we were coming down, and I remember this sound going past my ear. And it landed up in a tree, and it was this beautiful owl. And so we just realized ourselves as owl sisters. So with that, I'm going to just pass it over and just want to welcome everyone who's here tonight. And welcome, I'm going to just say your name, but I don't know if I'm saying it correctly. You can come in. Oski? Are we saying it right? Welcome. Yeah, welcome to this beautiful. So we're here in Radical Earth Heart Resonance, and I'm going to pass it over to Linda, we're here in the connection field for those of you who might just be learning about it. And Linda is part of our Executive Leadership Council for Good of the Whole, but she's also this amazing ceremonialist, singer, and beautiful Reiki master, doing beautiful work on the earth, and more to come when you learn about her. But I'm going to just pass it over to you, Linda. Oh, Tyhson, I bumped over you. Do you want to, after she opens? Okay.
I feel like it's already open.
Right?
We're already in it, right? I mean, what more? Wasn't sure I'd be here tonight, so I'm so happy that I was doing some errands and was looking up for Facebook Live to see if you had popped on, but I was supposed to be here. So let's be here, my friends, my beautiful family. Yeah. Let's ground this love. Taking a nice, deep, long breath. Pause. And exhaling. And feeling that connection that we are to the owls, to the winged ones, to those who can see past illusion and into the truth, to the four-leggeds, the horses that gallop, and our canine and feline friends. So many of the animals walking on this precious earth, connecting to the creepy crawlies and those little tiny beings that work in our gardens, that dig in our soil, that help us in this connected ecosystem of life on earth. And feeling our connection to the elements, of course, we know that we are that wind beneath the wings of the owl. As it flies past our ears. We know that we are that wind that is blowing the hurricane up the East Coast. And we can be gentle and we can be wild. And we know that we are the soil beneath our feet, where that wind has blown seeds to wherever they may be planted. The seeds of love landing from our breath, our heartbeat, from the wind to Amani's land, to anchor that peace, the fertility. And we are that earth soil, our bones, our minerals, our bodies, made of the earth, breathing the air, and connecting now to the waters. We are that water. The water that brings torrential rains and floods. It's the same water that relaxes us. And the gentle lapping of an ocean wave, or the trickling of a stream. We give thanks to the waters that are the lifeblood of our planet and our bodies. And we are that fire. The fire, the sacred fire that Imani builds for us. The sacred fire of the sun that brings everything to life. Sacred fire of passion in our hearts. We are all of these elements. The wind, the earth, the water, the fire. And we feel ourselves connecting to all life. To the tree people and the stone people and the mountains and the deserts and the jungles. We feel our heart expand in that vast space that holds everything. Holds it gently. As we live in this energy and that energy lives within us. We remember the love. We stand in our sacred authority of being all these things that nourish us and excite us. So tonight we bring peace to the waters of the hurricanes, peace to the winds that blow, peace to the land, and a peaceful fire. That we join in circle tonight around this sacred fire in this time, in this radical earth, heart resonant field of love. Let's breathe it in, one more deep breath. And on the exhale, just allowing that presence that you are, the essence that you are, to be here tonight. Ahe Matakoyas.
And I want to introduce my two beautiful pillars, those who carry that incredible toko toko of love and abundance for all and enthusiasm for life. Both Tyhson and Charlie just, I think pillar is the right word. So we're just going to open it up to Tyhson and then Charlie, who are part of this, just for those geese and others who will be watching this, that we came together in 2015 to bring forth what was being initiated as the Sacred Evolutionary Dowsing Consortium. So where we understood that together we're greater than the sum of our parts, even exponentially greater in more ways, because when we come into this collective, what moves here in that quickening is this access to, well, I'll just say the songlines of our heart in direct connection with the song lines of the earth. And so welcome everyone who's here. And I'll just pass it over to them. Thank you for always being there, always saying yes.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this tribe and this opportunity to share time and space together. And I'm looking forward to this evening. Ever since we arrived in Amani's land in spirit, I would say for me, it's been a great quickening in my heart and in my experience. And it's like I've taken that fire and whoever the elders are who gathered there, both in physical form and other dimensional, somehow have done something inside of my heart and my soul that is indescribable. I don't know why or how, but other than that, it's a great story that's unfolding. And I just have learned so much from that one piece of land that every time I touch another piece of land and work with it, all of what I learned on Amani's land is magnified in, I want to say in perpetuity. It's just like it just explodes into a more expansive understanding of what it is to work on the land. And Charlie's sacred triangles and the landscape between the mountains is emerging everywhere that I'm working. And we're working on a project in the Sacred Valley in Peru with the Inca civilization and drawing those lines from the triangle there to the triangle where I live, and just feeling that energy along that song line or that power line of connection, and realizing that this is really an ancient technology of how to restore Mother Earth. It's like helping Mother Earth remember who she is before we got carried away with our human mind intents of trying to structure Mother Nature with no understanding that she's a living entity and is our Divine Mother. So it's our way of co-creating and bringing back that mystery that our ancestors knew and never really had to describe. They just took their young ones on the song lines and took them to the sacred sites and told stories. And that's the way we learned. That's the way we learned the history of our people and the history of the land. So for some reason, Amani's land has just opened up a new, I don't know, Akashic record or some magical connection or vortex. Maybe it's because of one of 72 sites around the world. But anyway, it certainly opened me up, and I'm truly grateful to be here tonight and to see what else will transpire. And I love the fact that we can't even see those chairs anymore, but there's chairs around that fire, which I believe the elders that have been associated with that land have occupied those chairs. So I'm interested to know what wisdom they have to share with us tonight. So the journey continues. And with the owl, I just want to say the owl is my totem. I have one totem, which is the wolf, for when I'm in the wake state, and when I'm in the sleep state, in the dreaming state, it's the owl. And there's in the Haida legend here, there's a story called When the Owl Hears Your Name, or the cry of the owl, which means that death is imminent. And for me, it's the death of the ego. It's the death of letting go what no longer serves us both individually and collectively. So when the owl shows up for me, it's that inner wisdom that comes from stepping into the dark side of ourselves and allowing it to come forward into the light to be cleansed and healed. So that's for me is what the sacredness of having the owl in my life. I too had an initiation with a great horned owl in India, which was exciting, where it was also like Shelley, just feeling the vibration of the wings going past me, and then feeling the presence of the owl every time I came around the corner. Here he would be as a guardian. As the further I went in the canyon, he would be taking me in from tree to tree to tree to tree. So it was like an owl initiation. The deeper I went in to this tunnel of the unknown, the more he was there to greet me. So he's like It helps you discover the dark side of yourself and bring it into light. And with that, I'm going to pass it on to Charlie, because I could go like Charlie forever and ever. So time to pass it on. Thank you.
Bless you, Tyson. Bless you, Shelley. Bless you all who have showed up in this beautiful circle of love and light and peace. And I just, it's an amazing process to experience Mother Earth's heart resonance as we look upon it and have it speak to you, have it guide you. And so part of our journey as a Sacred Evolutionary Dowsing group, we have tapped into that and allow ourselves the freedom of our willingness to go beyond what we normally would have thought was the limit. And that's what we express to everyone as you encounter what we might say or what we might do, is to open your minds as beautiful chalices that this wisdom of ancient masters and teachers and guardians of the galaxies are willing to share with all of us as we embrace Mother Earth in this collective journey of evolution. So I don't know where that came from, but that's my message to you. And I have another message that came as we were preparing, and it has to do with Imani's land and what Tyson said about how it's sort of transforming him in many ways. And so I will just read what came through my fingertips here. It's an ancient vortex which is part of a skeletal network of pre-human presence. What is encoded, that is encoded in the mineral aggregate that is a living presence, or what is it is a pre-human presence which is encoded in the mineral aggregate that is a living presence. A conjunction point honoring collectiveness. So I just put that into the field. And for you, Imani, for you stepping up and honoring being the guardian host of that land right now and listening to your higher guidance that brought you there, that has brought you all of those moments which have been filled with many emotions, knowing that your place there is in purpose and in alignment with something far greater than most of us as humans can really interpret in our limited space of mind. But know in your heart, and this is where we come with the heart resonance, is trust within your heart, listen within your hearts to what the earth is saying, to what the energy is saying to you, and trust it. It does not lie. It has no agenda. It has no power over you. It invites you to be in power with it. So I just placed that into the field tonight after my walk in the hurricane winds, and such a gracious place to be. Thank you. I'm complete.
Look at that. Woohoo, Peter Shampoo. Welcome to our circle. Welcome to the connection field. Welcome to Good of the Whole. We're grateful that you're here, and so we'll have to tell a little bit about this land. Imani, just so that everyone knows, Imani said she'd be right back. I don't know what was going on. Maybe it's dark and raining, or maybe Andrea's leaving. I'm not sure, but she'll be right back. And so we are blessed tonight to have you join us. I'm going to just rewind here a little bit. I don't know when you came in. Did you come in before Tyson was talking?
Tyson had already started speaking.
Okay.
I heard about the triangles.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
the connection.
So,
Is that in the Sacred Valley?
in Swananoa. Oh.
Swananoa.
Sorry, I'm mixing up. Okay. I'm not sure. Sacred Valley, Tyson? You're on mute.
Yeah, the Sacred Valley of the Aztecs, right? In Peru.
Yeah. Okay.
And
So-
we just drew a line using Charlie's. I finally figured out how to do Google Earth, and we drew a line from Mount Ida in my territory to the Sacred Mountain in his, and it goes right through the Yucatan Peninsula, right through the Toltec bringing of the Atlantean culture to the Americas. And if you follow that line, there's just so much history on that one line of connection that I just really want to thank you, Charlie, for opening up that way of discovering the connection that comes from linking one sacred site to another. And whether we're traveling in spirit or we're traveling with our feet, what we can learn when we do that is just amazing. It's just like, it's like the Lords of Light and all of the interdimensions show up to inform us of the lineage and history of place and time. So thank you, Charlie, for introducing me to that. I greatly appreciate it.
Thank you.
I could speak to some of those issues or some of those ideas, but I'm just kind of getting used to what the format is here and what your dialogue is. So
Yeah, we are going to hear from you for sure. It's interesting.
If you feel like responding to that, that would be wonderful. I mean, just take it away.
yeah, it seems to me that there was a kind of a engineering of the planet that was left in the hands of the indigenati. It's like a fourth level technology, a terraforming technology, and what's essential for the geostasis of the planet is to have sacred sites activated and worked with in order to maintain the geostasis of the planet. And through the oral tradition, it was given from one generation to the next to maintain these sacred sites. And I believe it's a technology of consciousness that we're seeing here. It's like applied megalithics is a term I've come up with, where we look at what the ancients created, and from there we can develop instead of the old sites were abandoned for some reason, and there's new sites that are emerging. So by learning how things were engineered through dowsing, through consciousness relationship with the planet, we too can apply these principles to making this planet whole again. It's losing a lot of its electromagnetic field and a magnetic orientation, and magnetic poles moving like crazy. We have 4 poles on the planet right now. So all those energies are just kind of moving around in chaos, and it needs coherence, and that's where the sacred sites come in, is to bring coherence to a field that is maintaining life. So whenever we do these consciousness connections between, say, Mount Ida, the quartz fields of Mount Ida, and the mineral kingdom of the Sacred Valley, that is doing that work. So You know. Great stuff, great fun. Right now, I'm working on a project to try to release some of the trauma that the planet has taken in because of our activities of man's inhumanity to man. You know, what brings to mind is that it comes to mind, Marty Kane, who's on an astro dowser. He spoke to me once of dowsing around Kosovo. And if you're following a ley line into Kosovo, as soon as it reached the battlefields where the killing fields were, the ley line just disappeared and then continued on after the killing field. So, you know, where's that pain, suffering, and blood and trauma, the vitality of the strings that tend to get severed, and you know, and then when they get severed, then you got problems because you know, ley lines often come out of caloric energies, you know, like volcanoes and things of that nature, great uplifts. All the sekes that come out of Machu Picchu is, you know, well known. And so when those things get severed, the volcanic activity starts because the energies aren't being distributed throughout the body. There's a meridian break, if you will, that prevents this power and energy of the planet from circulating properly. So again, you're doing this healing work over war zones, which is the thing I'm proposing right now, is to work with the Trail of Tears area with this Mississippi River flowing through it, and well, I need to work on the language with that. It's coming out of the oven now. Yeah, so that's my idea, that, you know, we can use the Great Circle to mend the hoop, and mend this hoop of life that we have here. And you know, there's a lot of positive lines, but there's some pretty negative lines too. You know, we have you know, one of the biggest ley lines comes right down the east coast of the United States through you know, Boston, New York, Washington D.C., Atlanta, down to Mexico City in the Pyramid of the Sun, and if you follow that over, it goes to the Middle East. So, you know, this line has a lot of, you know, economic warfare. Where it goes through Europe, it has a lot of you know, the Battle of the Bulge, Waterloo. And it goes through ancient Troy. So, you know, the frequency of this line has been polluted by the trauma of war. And that frequency keeps being transmitted to Washington D.C. So by you know, when you change the frequency, you change the manifestation of the mass. So by getting love infused into these sekes, it changes the frequency to love. So, you know, I mean, it takes a while. You know, it's been, well, since ancient Troy, so, you know, we've been at it for a while. Now, and this is the work of Thomas, who I think his name is. He's offering that we need to release our collective trauma in order to stop the repeat of the trauma. You know, our trauma, you know, in the 500 years of Inquisition, or the trauma that we experienced, you know, as Irish, you know, with the English famine that was intentionally put on the people of Ireland. You know, that's just, it's all trauma on top of trauma. And you know, as we know, you know, a kid that's beat up at home ends up being a bully in the schoolyard. So, you know, we have to do something with this trauma. Otherwise, there's no healing. So, you know, I'm offering this this ring, which is centered on the New Madrid Fault, with a diameter from New Orleans to Chicago, to release a trauma that's in the body of our continent. And we have this the Trail of Tears that goes from North Carolina over to Oklahoma. It's like a bloodshot eye around the plutons that are rising up. There's multiple plutons rising up through the earth of New Madrid Fault. That's that seismic zone. That's really just tearing the earth apart right there. Eventually, millions of years from now, there'll be an inland seaway, or Michael Gordon Scalion's vision of things. You know, it could happen next week. That this waterway opens up from Quebec City down to New Orleans. So there's a physical thing that the America is being torn apart geologically, right? This place, but there's also this brokenheartedness, this you know, this trail of tears, this great pain and trauma that is around this, and cutting through that same line is this this arbitrary geopolitical line, which also has an energy and frequency to it that is transmitted across the land, and that's the Missouri Compromise line. 3630 is the latitude, and that divided the country north and south. You know, Republican, Democrat, red and the blue, the slave and non-slave. You know, it's just proverbial line in the sand. A lot of sovereignty issues along this particular line.
Peter, can I interrupt
anytime, please.
because it's really amazing what you're sharing. I mean, it's completely amazing what you're sharing, and I just want to kind of create the invitation to lead it back to, because I think the land that we've been working with is very tied to what you're speaking about, and also we're here for like a half hour more.
Yeah.
Just give people a chance to have a chance to share as well. And I first of all, I really want to so just introduce myself. I'm Shelley Darling, and we've talked before. I invited you into the Dowsing Consortium a couple of years ago, and we talked about it. And I actually have been spending a lot of time in New Hampshire and Maine, and doing a lot of dowsing. Actually, that's where Charlie and I met. In Washington. But it's really important to, I think, lead it back to, okay, so sorry, I lost my train of thought. So I wanted, first of all, to honor Karen, who invited you here, which is amazing to me, because here I was inviting you into, you know, the Dowsing Consortium, the Sacred Evolutionary Dowsing Consortium, and wanted to connect with you and work with you. And we've been working with grids and ley lines. And it's Karen from Costa Rica who brings you here. I just think it's amazing. I love how the universe works. And I do believe that it's connected to Amani's land, because we'll share, give her a moment to kind of share into the field. But I also want to allow other people to kind of come in as well. And listen, we invite you onto this call. I feel that this particular, I mean, in the Dowsing Consortium, we're writing a book right now of our experiences together and case studies. And this case study is in the book on this land, because this land is connected to Washington, D.C. And it's connected to
the Trail of Tears.
The Trail of Tears, yeah. So I would like to have like Amani just kind of share with you, so you can kind of feel maybe why the universe is calling you in here, and what we've been doing, and this particular piece of land, its effect in just a little over a month has been like, you wouldn't even recognize this land. But what's interesting to me is and Amani also. Amani is an amazing woman, drummer, soul singer, earth singer, Sorry that you missed her opening. Maybe she'll do it towards the end again. She's sitting with the fire right now. There's a peace chamber on this land, and what else I want to say? So you're invited to come really go deeper with us. But when I got on the call tonight, and when we started speaking, and when she started drumming, and when Tyhson spoke, and then Charlie spoke, I got this really strong hit that the land was inviting us to go underneath the soil and really feel into what's going on there. And it is all about, so if you're coming into good of the whole in the connection field, it's all about creating coherence. It's completely focused, beelined into whole systems health on the planet, and cultivating this ethos of wholeness, and this land was calling for it. And Mani was calling for it. And so with that said, I feel, and the stories you told about the broken ley lines, what's been really interesting, and we haven't gotten to this point with this piece of land, but I had been feeling, and we had talked about it a little bit, that there is something going on with those ley lines that is asking to be, I'll just say in this moment, noticed, and to be made aware of, to sing up those song lines. And in Australia, I had a couple of experiences exactly like what you're talking about, the broken ley lines, and what was happening on that land, and the ancestral lineage that, in order for it to sing again, had to be brought back together. And so I don't know what else to say, but I want to give Amani Amani, like, just 2 minutes to just give the bottom line, most important piece about this land and yourself. And then maybe Tyhson or Charlie want to just talk about what's happened. I don't know if we want to tune into those ley lines, or maybe you want to bring in some beautiful tool that we can play with here, for just a short time.
If I have an address, I can look at it. And...
Yeah, good. So Monty's going to give that to you. And we also have a lot of maps, which I didn't pull up tonight, but I can. And then we want to, what we've done in this call is invite those people that are here, that we know that the land they're sitting on is directly connected to this land. And that has been an amazing experience. We want to give them each at least 2 minutes tonight to share what is coming through for them in terms of why they're here and why they're on this call, and what's coming to them. So I think Nani, you want to share?
Yeah, it's raining. It's raining. It stopped. It started again. So we're walking into the chamber because it's really raining. And so bear with me.
So Peter, wait till you see this chamber.
Say that again?
No, I don't need to.
Is it a beautiful arrow chamber?
Yes. This chamber is number 1874. Property, like proximity to the eastern edge of the Cherokee Nation that was recognized by the King of England prior to the formation of the United States. 30 years ago, this was built by a community. And I've been here for 7 years, and the amount of transition that has occurred through our work together has been tremendous, personally as well as for the chamber and the land, and all kinds of amazing opportunities are coming to the land and coming to me around. This place is about, if you know Joseph Rael's work, then you understand the magnitude of this place. It most accurately represents his vision, an elliptical dome. And yeah, 15 minutes from downtown Asheville in Swannanoa, North Carolina. The address to the chamber is 321 Old Fellowship Road, Swannanoa, North Carolina, 28778.
Yeah. Well, that's perfect.
Yeah.
And one of the sites that I'm working with in this New Madrid wheel is Asheville. So, that's really
Well,
nice.
I'm probably one of your go-to gals.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just want to know that's Russell's place. Wasn't that the scientist Russell's estate?
That I don't know. Buckminster Fuller built the first geodesic dome in the area. Black Mountain College is 5 miles away.
Yeah.
And this place was the first place that black and white children came together at a summer camp in North Carolina, is my understanding.
Okay.
Dana's asking Peter Russell, question mark. I don't know.
I don't know Peter Russell, but I kind of have kept my head down personally.
No, it's, oh, he's a dowser. What was the artist? What was his name? Russell was one of his names. I think it was his last name. Walter Russell.
Richard Crutchfield was the dowser that worked with Joseph here in the late 80s, early 90s. He just recently passed away, and he came up after I started taking care of it, and he said, I don't know what you're doing, but keep doing it. So that's what I've been doing.
Tyhson or Charlie, do you want to add to this a little bit to this story at all, or anything moving in you? And then let's just kind of open.
I just like the rinky-dink coincidence. You know, Walter Russell's been a very much part of my understanding, and got to study with one of his students that lived with Walter Russell. So I just like the synchronicity of all this. And Mr. Fuller is one of my all-time, what would you say, idols. And we built a geodesic dome on the property that we put in trust. There's just so many different connections to this land. And I'm really curious, you know, have you, Amani, had any more revelations or downloads, or how we want to describe, about the council of elders that continues to meet there? Have you had any dreams or visions or things coming through?
Yeah, I had a very strong vision one morning, which was about the women and how the women console each other, and how there's an original break damage line to the women, and that over time the women would come head to head, and then they became a skull, a skeleton, and then they became the crystal skulls, and then they became light. And I understood that to be that a big part of the work of this chamber, and my work, which is true of my life, is to work with that energy line of the original wounding of the feminine.
Well, okay, great.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I had lots of interactions with the deer. I mistakenly ran over a copperhead, which I am sorry that I ran over a copperhead, and I'm actually okay that I ran over a copperhead, because they are very poisonous, and when they bite people, they make them sick. And I have, you know, there's plenty of acreage for the wild to be wild, and this little bit right here, you know, it was completely unintentional. If I had seen it, I'm sure I wouldn't have done it, but those kind of things have been happening. It's been more like the hawks have been really loud. I kind of feel like the council is smiling and grateful that each of us are showing up to that council. Like Tyhson, the way you speak about your work, that's what I understand the council to want, is for the individuals to, you know, like they're here to up-level everybody's work.
All right, thank you very much for that.
I will, hold on one second. I want to just jump in right here because it's really, really important. So I want to up level your voice around the killing of this copperhead, because actually the copperhead sacrificed itself for its message.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I just want to just read you this right now and into the circle, because this is our tendency to think that we're doing something and not understanding and honoring the frequency of these messengers that are coming. And that copperhead didn't just come to you, it came to all of us. And listen to how perfect this is. Hold on. When the copperhead appears, our own sensitivity to others will increase. We will sense the auras of others more easily and effectively. When the copperhead appears as a messenger of totem, it brings the message of standing one's ground. And I think that's all we need to say into this circle, that this is about standing in sacred authority with the women. It came to you because you are the conduit for, this is what it's been like working with this piece of land. It's just amazing. And so it's calling us to stand in our sacred authority. And that's a beautiful thing on this day walk of the gentle wind, which sometimes isn't gentle, but when it moves through, everything flourishes. When it transmutes the energy, when it's clear, everything thrives. So anyway, I just wanted to bring that in. Excuse me for diving into there, Tyhson, but I think it was really important.
No, keep diving.
I thank you so much for that, Shelley. I also have something interesting to share. So the copperhead passed, I found it, I'd sat with it for a long time, I made offerings, I moved it to the bank, assuming that another critter would come along and have a dinner. That didn't happen, so I took care of the snake in the morning, and on its belly, on the underbelly, there was a rainbow. So, yeah.
I just wanted to share, as I looked up copperhead, in another sense of what we're going through right now, there was a copperhead party during the Civil War, and it was a separation of the states. And so I'm not looking at the politics of what happened then, but the energy of that. It was an energy of separation that's ancient, just as in the history of our country. And we're now in this same presence of separation and so the likeness of that energy, and this is what I look at it as an energy, the similarity of that energy is really coming up on that land. And part of that healing of that land is healing the separation. So it's not only separation of the ancient indigenous, the separation of ley lines, but it's also the separation of humanity in America throughout its culture, be it masculine and feminine separation or political separation. So I just add that into the field as what's coming through. And thank you, Peter, for being here. As I mentioned you for people last week to look up your account because of your work with the Trail of Tears. And you have far much more knowledge of explaining grid work to people than I do. I work with them. I don't completely understand all of it. I just know that that's my purpose here. And we have worked with Imani's property and connecting it to ancient sacred places. So her property has now been connected to Mount Shasta, to Lake Titicaca, to Palenque, to I think there's the airport in Sedona, or they call it the airport or something like that. It's this is what we work with here is that connecting of lines and energy that are, as you said, bringing things back together and transforming those negative energies and the trauma. Thank you for that, because that's what I've been feeling in a lot of the work that I do is the trauma, but I never put that word with it. So thank you for introducing that into my consciousness. And with that, I'm complete. Thank you.
That piece there of that news out of North Carolina, out here in Arizona, is that the city of Asheville has proposed reparations for the slavery years.
Yep.
And
Yep.
that's kind of already this initiation of releasing the trauma. It's, whether or not that goes through or what happens with it, it's the consciousness that's being carried by that initiative out of that healing chamber, into the matrix that needs to be healed. So.
Yeah, I don't want to get into the politics of America because I'm Canadian, but I can say that America rediscovering who America is comes from the level of the state and the state government. That's where the true authority of being connected from the person to the land. So, I mean, this has got a sacredness to it that goes right back to the founding of America, and reestablishing that sacred connection to the land, which is still held at the state level, and only at the state level, not at the federal level. The federal level, there's no connection between the person and the land. So the restoration of America will come from the state level. I'll leave it at that.
Can I add something?
Yeah, and so Karen, I'm just going to say this really quick because, I mean, we could go on for hours. I know that. And
Daryl Bob coming on?
he should be, and I actually have another engagement. So just let me help. Yeah, so Peter, we're in the connection field, and it's kind of like an hour by hour, different pieces coming in. And so we usually end at in about 8 minutes, but we're here every Tuesday. And definitely want to invite you to come in and continue if you want, and also for us to know more of what you're doing, because it feels like it's this very interconnected piece here, obviously with Imani's land, and I want to give everyone a chance to speak here. So what I'm going to say is, 1, 2.
I could have said it by now, Shelley.
Yeah, no. Actually, I'm saying it because I'm trying to figure out the timing. So to give everyone. So like everyone can have a chance who hasn't spoken for about 2 minutes. And if Daryl Bob doesn't come on, we can go a few extra minutes. But just wanted to kind of.
All I wanted to say, Shelley, was during the time that when Charlie was talking about the separation, or maybe it was someone else about, and going back to one period of time, ley lines and the different frequencies, ley lines and frequencies are also connected outside of our earth as well. Isn't that right, Peter? Yes. Goes up to astral levels and well, we have been, astrologically speaking, under almost the identical energy of the time of the American Revolution. So if you're talking about a time of separation, this is when we separated from Europe mostly, and here. So I thought that might have something to do with all of this too. And I don't know how that fits in or how it works, but maybe someone has a good idea about what we can do, because, beyond even the frequencies are pointing to that time challenge for us. And you brought up Tyhson, the starting of the country. And you're right, the states, it was our original constitution, which has been shredded, but hopefully will be being returned shortly. Put all the power in, almost all the power in the states. The federal government only had a handful of things that it was supposed to be doing for the United States. So that's just what I had to say. Thank you.
Karen, thank you so much. You're awesome. I'm getting to know a whole other side of you. Incredible.
Well, that takes time and conversation, which we have.
I'm unraveling my time. Thank you. So just let everyone else kind of jump in.
I'm jumping. Peter, you mentioned this circumference. When I first came in, I was getting this visual of this circumference and I couldn't place its relevance. And as soon as you spoke of it, that was it. So meeting you here, obviously meant to be, it was an instant connection to what I was seeing. Imani, I'm seeing, it seems like ancient games. I saw a domino, but it was very old looking domino with three, it was a representation of three. So there was three, but it was broken in half with the 2 and the 1. Then you said the address was 321. So I found that quite fitting. But there was also this wooden kind of card. Games are being played. I'm being shown games. And Peter speaking on the trauma and kind of how do we address the trauma. It's being shown with games, play games. You have your grandson that comes, the games that you play there. This is bringing that joy and that healing through play. So I wanted to share the domino. I'm going to try to find out what these cards are because they seem familiar to me, but they're like printed on wood, wood block prints. I'm not quite sure, but I'm going to look further into that. And so all the pieces fitting again as usual. So awesome. Good to be here with all of you.
Hi, I had a couple questions because all this stuff is relatively new to me, so I'd rather ask questions than say things. Song lines have come up a couple times recently, and I know that the Aboriginal culture in Australia talks about song lines, and I'm just curious, are song lines the same or part of the Earth's crystalline grid? And do any of you actually hear the songs? Like, are they real sounds that can be heard?
Yes. I'd love to hear how Peter responds to that. Well, yeah.
Keep it short.
Yeah, right. Good luck.
Song lines refer specifically to the Aboriginal expression of these earth grid energies. So they would sing the lines. When playing the didgeridoo, the sound that comes out of there emanates the shape of the planet. So they're, in cymatic patterns and stuff. It's the same as the interior of the planet. So they're singing these lines into life in harmony. It was along these lines that they could communicate telepathically because of their sensitivity. But it's just different cultures, different cultural expression of the same thing. The English were all about big stones and stuff, and grounding this energy and creating fertility in the land. Where the song lines were more about communicating with the knowledge field, the Akashic field that they would need to tap into to talk to each other or find game or something. It's also related to their whole mythology and giants and the giant's footprint. I mean, it's quite extensive, but it's the brief.
Thank you for keeping it brief. More to come, Dana. More to come. Ozgi or Zoe want to jump in here? Linda, you want to jump in? Any one of you?
It's not that I want to jump in. I feel that I've been pulled into a vortex.
Right.
Because this language is not that it's not familiar, but I had no idea what would be happening tonight. And it's very different, but I did want to honor the owl, my crystalline owl. She seems to have been flying through this whole conversation tonight, helping me see into the places that I can't see with my physical eyes, that I can't quite grasp, as those of you who've been dowsing and being on the earth lines. I was doing some work on the ley lines at St. Michael's Mount. So I am familiar with it, although I was not the initiator of that ceremony. Yeah, I don't really know what to ask or what to add. I'm soaking this up and knowing that the earth is speaking to all of us in her own way. And I think conversations and being in this energy is certainly connecting it. So it's awesome land. I'm glad I know more about Amani. Thank you for sharing where you are and what the land is, and the healing, all of the healing that's going on. I think right now, if you think about being in 2020, what an amazing time to bring all of this up and to have all this healing happen. So yeah, I'm gonna, thanks for the rattle, Elizabeth. So I see Zoe's popped on, so I'm going to.
You say where you are. What I realized was it's really important just to introduce you to Amani's land, like just acknowledging this. Yeah, just say where you are. It'd be really good.
Where I am?
Yeah.
I'm in Northwest Indiana. I'm at the tip of Lake Michigan, about 40 minutes from Chicago.
Okay.
So
whoever's speaking would be great, and if you haven't, we'll make sure everyone kind of just what you're bringing to this tonight. Thanks.
Yet another one of the sites that Chicago, Asheville, Serpent Mound, North Carolina, Manhattan, Kansas, Oklahoma City. I mean, we have 2 of the sites online already, right? You know, with people, it's quite, I'm sorry. Miracles happening! Oh boy!
Don't make sure you mark the date to come next week.
Okay.
We'll go more. We'll yeah, and if we have to start extending this 2 hours or something, we'll have to figure out a way to do that.
right.
So
Synchronicity. Why are you all surprised? It is how it's supposed to be. It's synchronistic.
Beautiful. I love it. Zoe, do you want to jump? Dive in?
Sure. Just wanted to come into the circle more visibly and say hi, and that I'm just been listening to this conversation off and on for a few weeks now, and just, yeah, the evolutionary dowsing term, when I first heard it from Shelley, really caught my attention. So I'm just listening and sensing and appreciating what a privilege it is to be on this planet and to have these abilities to work with the space-time continuum in this realm and healing the earth, and try all like meet up on Amani's land through this phone call. And it's really yeah, it feels very grounding for me to be in this conversation. And the day of the owl, I feel like it kind of pulls me down into the womb of the earth, but in such a gentle way, because at the same time it's dawn, so it's like a gray energy in a beautiful way. The blending of duality and the earth connection through that. And then heading into Lizard tomorrow, with which I feel we have the opportunity to create more from the foundation and the awareness that this day provides us with. Create more in
pruning and including and let's see. Yeah, that's all. Yeah, and then I used to connect a lot with the whale ocean grids, and I used to, not a lot, but I used to have those experiences. And then this morning, after the fire ceremony, I went back to sleep, and like I was just really tapping into that energy, and I'm learning and just like in awe of everything that we can connect to on this planet as, you know, living entities and grid workers along with all the animal kingdoms here as fellow grid workers that are assisting us. So look forward to the continuing this conversation with all of you, and yeah, learning and everything. Lots of
I just want to check in with Ozki. Are you feeling to jump in, dive in, bring your presence forward?
Hello.
And what sacred land are you on?
I live in Denver, Colorado.
Oh.
I'm originally from Turkey. And I just saw Tyhson's post on Facebook. And last week I saw it, but I missed it. So I was curious. My curiosity kicked in. I'm always curious to learn more things. And I'm an emotion code practitioner and a Reiki master since 2003. And I'm working on healing myself first and teaching what I learned along the way to others. And I have some followers in Turkey, so I do some Turkish meditations, 21-day meditation series. And I also do group sessions and private sessions as well. And I am all for healing the collective. So this resonated well with me. I'm glad I joined and listened to all of you. And I'm also very interested in sacred places, also sacred geometry. So I'm glad to be here. I will try to make it to the other meetings. And I just signed up for the newsletter. So I was just reading what you do in what days, and hopefully I'll get to see you more often.
May I ask whereabouts in Turkey, north or south?
I was born in Ankara, the capital in the middle, but I lived in Istanbul most of my life before I moved to US in 2006.
It's the same latitude as Denver.
Yes, kind of. And Ankara's climate is about the same as Denver, a little bit, not as cold in winter, but it's about the same.
Beautiful. Thank you for joining us. And thank you for bringing it back to the collective as we sort of come in and
today, around noon, it was like 9 p.m. in Turkey, and we do group meditations every Tuesdays and Thursdays. So lots of people show up on a Zoom call or Instagram Live or Facebook Lives. And we try to meditate, work on ourselves as well. And today's topic was gratitude towards every little thing we have in life. And we also worked on healing the earth. I have a healing circle that I created in quantum fields. back in February, and everybody can just connect to that healing circle from their heart, just share their love and gratitude, and just set good intentions for themselves and for everybody else. And I just imagined this back in February when I created that healing circle. When I was meditating, I saw a big, like a fish tank, a sphere, big bowl fish tank. And I saw the earth in it. And it was full of unconditional love for the whole earth and every living thing or every being on it, humans, animals, or other beings, any kind of vibrations. So today we just send our unconditional love to that healing circle to heal the whole earth and everything, every being on it. So after that meditation, it was really nice to see all of your faces. And I believe in the power of working in groups. So I will try to make it to the other workshops or meditations. I have 2 little kids. Sometimes I cannot show up. I cannot turn on the camera. They ask for things, they get hungry, or other things show up. So, but I am really glad I'm here with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And all these have been recorded, and we'll get them up on the Good of the Whole website. And and I think that maybe we'll even premiere this tomorrow, because I think it's really powerful what is happening here. And little did we know, because the first month we came together, it was really all about, you know, healing ourselves. And you brought it back to the collective. And that's really what Good of the Whole and the connection field is about, is how to stabilize and create coherence through deepening into this resonant field, this resonant frequency. What is that? And that's what we're doing when we're working the land. We're creating that return of wholeness, that return of that resonant field, and allowing the earth to grow, to undulate the way she wants to, right? So we do really need to end this tonight. And Daryl Bob is not here, but there's a few of us who have another commitment to be a part of. And so we're going to close this here. And Peter, if you could put your email address and your website into the chat, and we'll make sure people get that. I'm beginning to feel like we can add people to the Sacred Evolutionary Dowsing Consortium page as well. That maybe this is the restitution and of that page in a slightly different way. That group, so where we can communicate as well. And make sure, take a moment and put your email, while we close, put your email addresses, because even though I have not been able to fulfill my commitment about getting the booklet to people, the dowsing booklet, I am, because I've got the other things now in order, and so I'm finally having the space to do that. So, and Peter will stay in touch with you, and we'll take a look at what you're inviting us into in regards to the Trail of Tears, because obviously we're meant to work together. So with that, I think what we're going to do is just check in with Tyhson and Charlie. Is there anything more that you want to say to close this? And then we're going to, Imani already knows that she's on this land, and this land wants to sing and speak its voice back to us, because there is that reciprocity. The gratitude goes both ways, and that's part of the learning of working with the land, is the land wants to speak back to us. So Imani, if you would be so kind, and Tyhson, Charlie, just want to give you a chance to say something into the field.
Just thank you everybody for showing up. It was another unique opportunity to broaden the field and learn from Divine Mother and from Mother Nature and from the land that's speaking through us and speaking clearly, and coming together, we can not only heal ourselves, but heal the land and create a new earth. And I'm all for that. And over to you, Charlie.
As always, blessings of peace, light, and love to each of you from the midst of the high winds and the hurricane that's flowing up the east coast of the United States. And it's always a pleasure to hear the wisdom of others and the messages that are coming from your hearts. We are one, we're all in this together, and we're all not only learning from each other, we're also teaching each other. So thank you all for being present tonight. Bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlie. The land has a gift of a crown for each of us. So I encourage you to receive that as I play from the chamber.
Blessings, everyone. Amani, if you could put your email into the chat, we'll give everyone a minute to just grab the chat. And I just want to really honor the intelligence of the field itself that brought us together here tonight, how it weaves its magic, its love, and to honor the connection field, how it birthed itself here at this time, and giving us the space to co-create and mentor each other, stand side by side on this earth in love and mutual trust and radical diversity. So I really want to honor that. And so everyone knows how to grab that chat. Just go over to the chat right now, and I'll add, I'll just put this in. Okay, that's Shelley. Whoops, Shelley. And with that, hit those 3 buttons, save the chat, and love you all. Peter, thank you for joining us. Karen, thank you for being that beautiful conduit of light. You're amazing, and I love learning about you in this way, each one of you. Ozgi, thank you. And also just want to let you know, Ozgi, that we're here tomorrow morning at the fire. And everyone brings their fire, and it starts the resonance happening in the morning. And Peter, this is it's a Mayan fire ceremony with Tata Jose Akpu Muñoz and so many others around the world, gathering in celebration and love and for all of humanity. So it's amazing. And it's every single morning at 6 a.m. Pacific, 9 a.m. And it's the same number that you came in. This one link will get you into the connection field all day long. So with that, love you all. Got to run. I don't know what happened to Daryl Bob, but I'm going to let it go for tonight because we had our music. We were meant to be here tonight. So blessings, everyone.
Is he going to come? Like, can you leave it open in case he shows up? Because I was curious, and I waited for him the other time, but he didn't come that time.
Yeah, something happened last week. Yeah, I have to check back with him. So I can, let's see. Yes.
Isn't his thing in 10 minutes? It's not quite yet.
No, it's now. It's usually he's in here for the, okay, you must shut off the recording, Tyhson. Thank you.